to all out in the galaxy. Pastor John, also known as Gilead7, to Morro Kings, Echoes of Oratory Music, Crystal Radio, and right now, VirgoTwins, introducing the song Immortal, in parentheses, Immortal. So we're going to break this down two ways. I'm not going to be before you long. I told you that last time. Wound up being longer than I expected. My bad. This song brings to mind, the first chamber is, I love competition. I love battle writing. Battling in hip-hop, or the competitive practice of the elements, has various ways that it can be done. One is head-to-head combat, verbal combat. Another way is freestyle ciphering to see which MC has the best verse. The other type is who burns the other MC on the track when they're rhyming. There are various types of it. I'm a fan of all of it. I practice all of it. I practice some of these elements more than others right now. But yeah, this was always a fun thing for me. How can I be competitive when it comes to my writing? And how can I sharpen myself by testing my sword against other people? Swords are very important to this talk, to this sermon.
Switching lanes, you see nothing but the stutter I drive. But I got my airspace when I soar on butterfly knives. On the shrine of case slayers, no way you butter survive. And I'd rather play Russian roulette than rebuttal your jive. Ease.
So these particular section of 4 bars, I dealt with a stuttering issue. I still do. I kind of can control it now. And sometimes I can't. But people used to always be surprised after seeing me in regular dialogue and rhyming, how it was like night and day. That's just why I say, switching lanes, you see nothing but the stutter I drive, but that out my airspace when I soar on butterfly knives. It was like a different person emerged, and a person who was able to articulate impromptu rhymes and rhymes I had written in very competitive formats, from freestyle ciphers to MC battles and things of that nature. So yeah, this was something I really enjoyed doing. I still enjoy doing. And this song, just to really back up, I want to give shout outs to Boricua Sandy, who has given the soundscape for not only this song, but of course the whole record. And this record wouldn't be possible without her, so thank you so much for what you've done, Sandy. We gonna kill this shit. But yeah, this particular beat in particular, it put me in the mind of, you all remember Blue Sky Black Death, production duo who was popular in the mid-2000s, did records with Hellraiser, Holocaust, Jean Grey, etc. They had this really ethereal, atmospheric, but hard production style. And I always wanted to work with them. Never got a chance to. We had some conversations back in the day, but that didn't quite work out. Yeah, but when I heard this particular beat, it put me in that mindset of a Blue Sky Black Death chamber. Now, what's in it is of course different, but it got me in the mode of just thinking about what I would say on something like this. And the only thing I could think of is, this is the track on the album where you show you can rhyme. And kind of in Chicago, we have a tradition of doing that. Sometimes we would do albums, well, not me particularly, but I know many of my colleagues in the scene from the late 90s, early 2000s on, would do some records that would just have that on it. And I'm thinking of particular songs like Colloquialisms by Quell, several tracks on Verbals, A Prelude to Nothing, Vakil's work, The Darkest and On the Darkest Cloud. Just these streams of consciousness where barring out and showing you can rhyme and crafting cool punchlines, or not so cool punchlines, maybe very, very violent punchlines, or very, very audacious punchlines. I don't know. It's done. So the second chamber of this is the song is called Immortal. Why is it called Immortal? Thank you for asking. Tomorrow King's member Ill Subliminal described the early 2000s period in Chicago of various freestyle ciphers as being very, very much like Highlander. I don't know if anybody who's watching is a fan of Highlander. Just to give you a quick synopsis of the program. I don't even know who created Highlander. I forget. Whatever. You can look that shit up. But the show revolves around a group of immortals who look just like us, and they don't have origin stories. They just show up. Many times they show up as babies in different parts of the world, and people take them in and raise them. And sometimes they know that they're adopted. Sometimes they don't. And many times the adopting parents don't know what they are. Now, immortals, they only can die if their head is chopped off. And many of them are great swords. Remember, I said that swords are very important. So many of them become swordsmen to defend their lives. And there is something that's said, a phrase that's said among immortals, there can be only one. Now, we're never told why there can be only one, but we know there can be only one. This is what immortals live by. So, when you die, well, first of all, if one is killed by any means other than head severing, what did cannabis say? When the head is severed from the body with a sharp enough weapon, the head remains constant for 10 seconds. I'm saying it wrong, but y'all get it. So whenever a person dies without their head being cut off, they come back to life. And the first time that happens, you'll remain the age the first time it happens. So if your first death that wasn't decapitation is at the age of 30, then you'll stay 30 until someone gets to you. If they get to you. So because there can be only one, because they're told that, and this is the legend that goes on, because they believe that, they understand that there's a prize for being the last MC or the last immortal standing. So Ill Subliminal kind of compared the hip-hop scene in Chicago in the early 2000s, especially ciphers, a lot of ciphers, and, to that. People are trying to take heads. And this is important also. When you take a head, something called a quickening happens. So taking the head causes you to get all of the other immortals' powers. That also comes with different fighting specialties, their knowledge, and things of that nature. So the more heads you take, the more powerful you are. Same thing can be said about MCs. The better MCs that you beat, the more you learn. And the more you're able to use that in your other battles.
Sense, massacre painted in secular sacred wavelength. Sonya, Zion, Bathers, Anglia, Cathar, ageless. Zoroastrians, Zebras carry on backs, ancient mages who moonwalk out of graves with stone tablets, acronym.
So one thing to note about Highlander is that there is an engagement with various strands of world religions, secret societies, philosophies, etc. And one of them, you don't find this out till I want to say season 4, but it seems as if one of the most key elements in this series is the idea of, or the philosophies of Zoroastrianism, created by the prophet, the Iranian prophet Zoroaster, who lived somewhere around the 6th, 5th century BCE, before Common Era, and brought this monotheistic philosophy that it said possibly influenced the Abrahamic traditions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, concepts of Savior, concepts of hell, concepts of the personification of evil, which is known as Ahriman. And Ahriman actually makes an appearance in a Highlander episode, a few, toward, I think it was in season 4. But there, in Zoroastrianism, there are entities called the Ameshaspenta, which are the mediators between the divine and the world. And they're called immortals in Zoroastrianism. If we were to translate the Persian words into English, we translate those into immortal. So this also connects back. Well, first of all, the immortals in Zoroastrianism are the mediators, and not only the mediators, but they also embody certain virtues. But each virtue is subject and susceptible to the opposite, in the way that, well, a characteristic that some may say is good has an evil twin to it, you may say. So, and this is something that Duncan MacLeod says, who is the individual the Highlander series is based on. He says, well, the immortals in Highlander, they're on a spectrum. They're neither good nor evil. They're on a spectrum. And this ties back into notions of Moorish Science, where we kind of start off the album. The first 3 tracks are in a conversation around Moorish Science. You want to find out what that is, go back to the Unspoken video or research Moorish Science. But in Moorish Science, we learn about higher self and lower self. The higher self being one that utilizes knowledge, utilizes virtue, and utilizes various other elements in the universe for progression. The lower self uses the very same things for de-evolution. And so think about this in terms of battling, in terms of competitive writing. There are ways to do this, I would argue, which showcase one's battling with oneself and one's engaging one's own humanity to become a higher self. There are also ways of doing this which cause us to devolve. There was a time when there were certain things I would say when I was doing, I didn't do a whole lot of battling, but I didn't do a fair amount. Probably, yeah, I do a fair amount. But there was a time when I would say certain things that weren't necessary to say, reflecting back on it as I get older. So, Immortal, is really focusing on, well, how does one be competitive and maintain a certain dignity for self and world? Jose Pimienta Bay says that the term Immortal was in his father's native land of Cuba, referred to a person of darker complexion, a person who had ancestry in the continent we now refer to as Africa, among possible other ancestries, and who was a good person, a knowledgeable individual, a person of good character. And Moors show up a lot in the Highlander series. So what does it mean to articulate a competitive battle rap this is kind of what we're doing in Immortal